Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Gokul Nand Radha Gokul Nand Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha Gokul Nand Radha Gokul Nand Shri Radhe. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Lakshmana Hanuman, Sita Ram, Lakshmana Hanuman. Lakshman Hanuman, Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh. Okay. Hi, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for coming today. So we are going to do the Bhagavad Gita class today. It's going to be from chapter 2, 26. Verse 26, which is just come on the screen. It's incredible. Yes. Okay. Ooh. So we'll start. So before we start, so thank you all for coming. So say a few little prayers before we start, just to invoke the auspiciousness in this place. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we're going to be reading the verse which is up there from the Bhagavad Gita, which I'm sure. How many of you have actually read this book? Anyone? Even a verse, a page, half a page, one sentence, one line? Yeah. It is important that you read it, because it's like the manual for life. It solves a lot of your problems, daily problems that we have. You'll find the answers in there. Just like Arjuna, when he was on the battlefield, he had so many things going through his head, so many dilemmas. And at that time, he needed to find the answers. And then when you want to find the answers, you always look for someone. In the modern world, we call it a mentor, a guide, a coach nowadays, or what's the other? There's another term they use. So, yeah. So that's a modern term. But we call it a spiritual master. The reason why we call it spiritual master is because he is someone who actually read the scriptures, understood them, and he knows what's actually inside the scripture. He has seen the truth. That's why we always seek a spiritual master. And that sounds crazy, but every time we think, when you want to learn something, you have to go to someone. Like when you go to school, when you go to university, you seek a professor because he's a specialist in that subject. In the same way, the spiritual master, he's a master about spirituality because he knows everything. That's why you have to go to him. And he will guide us on the right path, what is right, what is wrong. And he'll tell us what we need to know. Obviously, sometimes he will also chastise us when we do wrong things. He'll say, don't do this and don't do this, but you need to do this, this, and this. So in a similar way, when Arjun was on the battlefield, he had all these dilemmas, all these things that he wanted to sort out, all these things that were going through his head. He didn't know what to do. His mind was crazy. It's all over the place. You know, you can imagine, he was on the battlefield, you know, so many thousands of people and his own relatives and friends, and he's going to have a war with them. It's bad enough, like, you know, when you scream and shout on someone, right, that's bad enough. And afterwards you go back and think, you say, you know what, I really shouldn't have said that. So imagine how much more difficult it would be to be standing on the battlefield, facing your friends and your family members and think, I'm going to go to war with them, and I might even kill them. So that's that level of anxiety, like a kind of a depression hits you, and you think, wow. So that's what Arjuna was thinking, and obviously this is where Krishna comes in. He comes to guide Arjuna. He goes, you know what? Don't worry about all these people. They're already dead. And like Arjuna was thinking, wow, man, how can they already be dead? You know, he goes, everything is arranged by Krishna. Nothing happens by chance. Everything happens for a reason, and which was something that Arjuna couldn't understand. So Krishna says, whether you kill them, okay, or whether someone else kills them, they're eventually going to die anyway. So what are you lamenting about? And then on that battlefield, how long did it take? Was it 20 minutes or something? That he recited the whole Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. About 45 minutes. So you can see the intellect of Arjuna. He was very intellect. He could understand everything. And then within that 45 minutes, he decided, yes, I'm going to pick up my bow and arrow and fight, because he realized what the truth was. So which brings us on to the first chapter, which is observing the armies where Krishna was stuck at the time, and that dilemma started. And it's chapter 2, where Krishna actually starts speaking from. And then we call it as contents of the Gita summarized. Basically, the essence of the Gita is all in this chapter here. Because whatever Krishna wants to know, it's like, you know, when you go to school, when you have to do an exam. So you go through the theory. For months and months and months, you're studying the subjects, you go everything. And there towards the exams, you know, you have this is basically like, chapter 2 is basically like the index of all the topics that are going to be covered. And then Krishna later on, each chapter goes into more details. And then towards the end of it, in chapter 18, again, he summarizes the whole thing again to Arjuna. So it's like basically when you go to an exam, you study the book, you go through all the topics, and when it's time for your final exam, you make little notes, post-it notes, and you stick it everywhere to refresh your memory. That's what Krishna does in the Bhagavad Gita. So it's definitely worth reading. It opens your eyes to a lot of things. It brings you into reality. And that's what happened with Arjuna here, which brings us nicely onto chapter 2. Thank you, Prabhu. Verse 26, so, which is on the screen there. Atha chainam nitya jatam. Atha chainam nitya jatam. Nitya va manasamartam. Nitya manasya mrityam. Nesya Vrityam Tatapi Tvam Mahabaho
Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho.
Tatapi Tvam Mahabaho
Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho.
Nainam Sochitam Arhasi
Nayanam Sochitam Arhasi.
Nainam Sochitam Arhasi.
Nayanam
Shochitam
Sochitam
Arhasi.
Arhasi.
The translation by Srila Prabhupada is, if, however, you think the soul, actually I can read it from there. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. And you can read the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. There is always a class of philosophers, almost akin to the Buddhist, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When Lord Krishna, spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they were known as Lokyatas and Vaibhishakas. I can't say it properly. Vibhashakas. Such philosophers maintain that life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition or material combination. The modern material scientists and materialistic philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is a combination of physical elements, and at a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by interaction of the physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo-religions now becoming fashionable in America are also adhering to this philosophy, as are the nihilistic, non-devotional Buddhist sects. Even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of the soul, as in the Vaibhishaki philosophy, there would still have been no cause for lamentation. No one laments the loss of a certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty. On the other hand, in modern science and scientific warfare, so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhishaki's philosophy, the so-called soul or Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic conclusion that there is an atomic soul, or he did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reason to lament. According to this theory, since there are so many living entities generating out of matter every moment, and so many are being vanquished at every moment, there is no need to grieve for such incidents. If there were no rebirth for the soul, Arjuna had no reason to be afraid of being affected by a sinful reaction due to the killing of his grandfather and teacher. But at the same time, Krishna sarcastically addressed Arjuna as Mahabaho, mighty armed, because he at least did not accept the theory of Vaibhishakas, which leaves aside the Vedic wisdom. As a Kshatriya, Arjuna belonged to the Vedic culture, and it behooved him to continue to follow its principles. Wow. Okay. So, quite interesting. From chapter 21 up to chapter 25, Krishna has been telling, the verses, sorry, as Krishna has been telling Arjuna about the soul, its qualities, its characteristics. What is the soul? How is it? What does it do? So basically, Krishna was trying to explain to Arjuna that the relationship of the body and the Atma, because everybody has an Atma, basically what we call the soul. Everything you see, like humans, animals, plants, everything has a soul inside it. Like Guru Maharaj used to say, he goes, when you look at the trees, they live for 1,000 years, but their soul hasn't developed so much. Yet, you see animals, and the soul goes through this what we call transmigration of 840 million species of life. You see, every time there's a soul in everything. And then when obviously Arjun is in this, Loud? Okay. So Arjuna is in the... Oh, okay. I need to put it up from there.
No,
Okay. Okay.
not speaking. That's the,
Can you hear me? Is it? Okay. Sorry.
it's just you not speaking.
Oh, all right. Okay. So Arjuna, like I said earlier, is in this confused state of mind in this place. So he doesn't know what to do. So Arjuna is Krishna is trying to explain to me, this grief that you're having for your uncles, your teachers, and your kinsmen, it's all futile. From any logical point of view that you can think of, whether you kill them now or at a later time, they will still be killed, they will still die anyway. So what is the sense of lamenting over that? And obviously, Krishna explained that the soul, I'll come on to that in a minute. So in the previous verse, Krishna explained to Arjuna the characteristic of the soul. He says, it's invisible, it's inconceivable, it's indestructible, and it's immutable. So he's saying the soul is eternal. The soul actually never dies. It just gives up the body and transmigrates to another body. So he looks at Krishna and thinking, Krishna looks at Arjuna and thinking, you know what, he's still not convinced. Let me try a different approach to him. Okay. So he goes, let me try a different approach. So the first, from 21 to 25, Krishna has actually applied the Vedic approach. Like he explained to him, the soul is Atma, it's eternal, unborn, undying, distinct from this perishable body, and then transmigrates to another body at the time of death. So he goes, okay, Arjuna hasn't fully understood that. He's still lamenting. Let me try the second approach, which is what Srila Prabhupada has come on to now here, which is the materialistic or the atheistic approach, which is life and soul is just a temporary phenomena. You know, we say life is just like a click of your finger. You know, it's there and it's gone. So it's like a very temporary thing. It's made out of chemicals and material which sort of come together and they form life, and they go on for a certain time, and through this cycle, you know, the body arises, it grows over time, and these chemicals over time sort of tend to dwindle, and when they dwindle, there's nothing left, no chemicals are finished in the body. That's what you call death. And then they deteriorate with the body, and the chemicals go, and that's the end of it, and there's nothing after that, you know. But, you know, you come to a point where you think, well, hold on, this is what Krishna is trying to say to Arjuna. So now he's using this approach, which is quite interesting. So Krishna is now saying, you know what, Arjuna, the modern scientist, they think the soul is a combination of elements. You know, you put these elements together, wow, you got a life. But, you know, even if you were to give you this, I remember Srila Prabhupada lecture, he goes, he's talking to a scientist, he goes, even if I gave you all these chemicals that you need, what life is made of, air, ether, everything that I give you, can you create life? They said, no, but you can't create life. He goes, so in that aspect, how is life just the soul, a bunch of chemicals or materials? You got earth, fire, air, ether, water, I give you everything. Just create life. But you can't. It's like IVF, when you have IVF children. You know, you don't just get an empty test tube and say, okay, life, in 5 minutes there's going to be life in there. No, you need the chemicals that go in there to produce that life. But where do those chemicals come from? From the parents, okay? The DNA, everything comes from the parents. And where do the parents come from? Right? Their spirit soul, the spirit's inside them. So the Atma carries everything with you that you need. Krishna had arranged it so wonderfully that everything that you need for life is in that soul. That soul just takes everything with it. It has everything you need. So you can't say that life is just chemicals and it just comes out of thin air, because otherwise it's like water. Water is a combination of two chemicals, hydrogen and oxygen. So the way that Krishna has arranged everything is beyond what our imagination can interpret. But like everyone says, there is something higher than us, and this is what we're saying. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We are all part and parcel of Krishna. We are just a minute spark. Like when you have your family, your parents, we're the children, and we have grandchildren. And we say, that's so-and-so's grandchild. Why do we relate to that person? Because that's his grandchild. You could have a grandchild say, oh, I don't know whose child that is. I don't know whose son it is. But we always go to name a particular person. That's his son. That's his grandson. That's his granddaughter. So we have that lineage. And in a similar way, for us, if we look back over many thousand years, we eventually come up to Krishna because we're still part and parcel of Krishna, that atomic little soul. And then Krishna says, okay, you know what, if you don't think of that philosophy, if you just think the other philosophy, like a lot of the Buddhists think that the Atma, the soul, and his body is one. And when we die, everything finishes. But Krishna says the body is constantly changing. You from an infant to youth, to adult, to old age. The body is constantly changing, but that Atma, that soul is still in there. It's like my father-in-law, he's nearly 91. And when he comes here, because he was in the army, he's got this idea of like staying fit. And then he goes, look, let's do some star jumps. I said, Dad, at your age, 91, you shouldn't be doing star jumps. He goes, yeah, but I'm okay. I'm fit. I'm young. I said, no, that's the thing. The body becomes old, but the soul, the Atma, remains the same. It's still young. He still thinks he's 16, and he can do all these fancy star jumps and everything, but he can't do that. So when you think of it, in this Buddhist philosophy, that everything just doesn't finish. As soon as the body is finished, the Atma is finished. That doesn't work either. So Krishna again puts this to Arjuna. He goes, so even if that philosophy is true, so the first idea of merely a bunch of chemicals, so think of them, they're your relatives, the material and chemicals coming together to come to existence. They finished. Why are you so lamenting over that? What's going to happen to them? Why you have this thought in your mind? It's like Prabhupada says, if you're a chemist or if you work somewhere and you have these chemicals, you spill them, you're not going to lament, oh my God, I've spilled this, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Oh. You ponder and think, okay. You think for a while, you say, what's happened, it's happened. That's it. That's what you think. Like when we're at work, something happens, you think, well, it's happened. You don't have a chance to lament over it. I think Krishna says, if you think of the Buddhist or the atheistic style, where you think the Atma, the soul, and the body, when that deteriorates, everything finishes, even then, why are you lamenting? The reason why Arjuna does lament is that you have that little relationship. He loves them. He has that relationship with them. Any living entity we have, people have families, we have pets, we have that relationship with them. That relationship is called love. Because we love someone, that bonds us together. And that's why we feel for that person. That's why when we lose something, it hits us. Oh my God, I've lost something. But now, more than something else, this takes over our life. The moment we lose this, it's like you go crazy. I had a friend of mine, we went to a program somewhere. She left her phone, and an hour later she realized she's lost her phone. She goes, oh my God, I left my phone. What do I do? Like in a state of panic. She goes, everything's in there. What do you do? I mean, this is how bad it gets sometimes, So yeah, Krishna's saying, why are you going to lament even if it's the Atma is you thinking, the body's finished, the soul is finished, everything. Why are you still lamenting? But then Krishna goes on to say to him, what you really need to understand is that for us to understand what it is, Krishna is saying the soul is eternal. It jumps from one body to another. At the time of death, it goes from one body to another body. We have that verse which nicely says that. So, before I go into that, Krishna said to Arjuna, "O Mahabaho." Why? Because you're so powerful. You're a warrior. Your job is not to lament. Your job is to fight. Your duty is to fight. So, what you need to do is do your duty and fight as a warrior. Don't stand here lamenting that what's going to happen to these. My plan is made up. Everything's already arranged for them. And you kill them or you don't kill them, one day they will die. But what the concept what Krishna says is that because the soul never dies, it carries on and on and on. And it brings us to verse 8.5, isn't it? 8.5, where Krishna says, okay, Antakale chamam eva swaran mukpa kalevaram ya prayasis sadmad bhavada ya naste, I can't see myself, atra samshaya. Now, whatever someone thinks at the time of death, that he will surely get. So if you think through the cycle of 840 million species of life, whatever you think at the end, you will have that. Then people say, well, how is that possible? Has anyone actually ever seen death? Does death exist? We see it every single day in front of our eyes. But then people say, how do we see reincarnation? How do you know that actually exists? How do we know that we transmigrate from one species to another to another? But Krishna clearly states that whatever you think at that time, you will become that. It's just like the wind carries the fragrance of a flower. You know, you don't actually see the flower, but you can smell it. But when you're close to it, you can see the flower. So in a similar way, whatever your mind is thinking, so Krishna is saying, well, if you think of you want to become an animal, or if you see, bring us to another dimension of karma. So if you do good karma, do good things in this life, and your mind is constantly think of good things, automatically, this is why we say that we need some sort of spiritual guidance, spiritual knowledge, because ultimately, everything that you do gets left behind, your body, everything, but your mind, the Atma, what is it looking for? Spirituality. And that spirituality, whatever Krishna says, whatever you do spiritually, is like a bank account, you know. It gets credited into that account, your spiritual account. And when that final moment comes, you know, he looks at it. How many credits, spiritual credits do you have in your account? Like you're all here today, that's a credit into your spiritual account. You know. And then when you come into this path of spirituality, why do you think we do this? Because the ultimate test for life, the final exam, is at the moment of death. Because they're saying that at the time of death, the pain is so difficult, it's so harsh, like, I don't know how many thousands of scorpions are biting you. That's how harsh the pain is. But for a devotee, Krishna takes care of that. He doesn't actually make you feel that pain. He minimizes that pain. That you go in a way that is less painful. For us, when we see someone, we're thinking it's very bad and such a very painful. But for that person, if he's on the path of spirituality, that pain is so minimalistic for him. So Krishna is saying that, why? Why do you want us to lament for that, for your uncles and aunts? So it comes up to the point where, we're looking for spirituality, the Atma. How come there's one thing that we're all looking for, and even And the Atma is looking for that one thing, which is love. And that one thing, love, is something that is a driver within every one of us. You know, and if I go home and I don't talk nicely to my wife, she'll have a go at me for saying, you haven't done X, Y, Z. And if I don't do something, vice versa. You know, it happens all the time. But the thing is, because we're all looking for love from each one of us. Why are we looking for love? We're looking for love because of the Atma, the soul inside. That's what it thrives on. The Atma simply thrives on love. And if we strive on love for each other because the Atma is, what do you think Krishna strives on? He doesn't strive on the fact that, you say to him, oh, today I'm going to give you, I'm going to donate you like 10 boxes of mangoes, yeah, and please do this for me. Or I'm going to donate you £200 and I want you to pass my driving test. Or if I donate something else and do this for me. He doesn't want any of that stuff. This is what he doesn't want. What he wants to see is a love that comes out from your heart. That's the whole idea of the Atma. And once you start giving lovingly from your heart, that's when Krishna will start to reciprocate. Now, next week is a very important week that we have. It's obviously Krishna's birthday. So when it's Krishna's birthday, he wants us to come and serve him lovingly, do things for him, things that will please him. And again, it's not the fact that's like, oh, Krishna, I'm doing this for you. Remember it, don't worry. Krishna will remember you in his own ways. Whatever you've done for him, whatever little bit you do for him, he remembers it. But the thing is, he'll reciprocate it in such a way, what he feels is good for you, he'll reciprocate in that way. If you think, oh, I need X, Y, Z, but Krishna won't give you. He'll give you A, B, C instead. Why? Because our thought process, our mindset is that, let me get this right. We plan our tomorrow according to our today. But Krishna plans our today according to our tomorrow. So he knows what's going to happen in the future, and that's why he plans our day today as it happens. We don't understand Krishna's plans, and we never will. But if you have faith in Krishna and his plans, then you'll understand everything has happened for a reason. Sometimes, I remember when you might miss a flight for some reason. Now, you think, there was that article with that girl with the Air India crash. She couldn't make it to that flight. She missed the flight. She screamed and shouted. And then what happened? Krishna has his own plans. He does his things his own way. So that's why Krishna is saying, the Atma is undying. It's, Arjuna, you have no need to lament. And even for us, in one aspect, we shouldn't be lamenting, but because we have that love for everyone, for our nearest and dearest ones, we feel that attachment. But Krishna says, you have that attachment for a certain time. It's like two logs that come in the stream. They come together, and then they separate again. That's what our relationships are with everyone. So why are you lamenting? And so Krishna says that what's more important is for you to do service to me. Make me the person that you love. Shower your love onto me, and I will reciprocate it onto you. This cycle of birth and death we can't avoid, whether you're animals, plants, trees, everything. You decay. You have trees that live for thousands of years, and then you have plants. And I remember my Guru Maharaj saying, I said, Guru Maharaj, how, I don't do anything wrong. And he goes, I don't kill anything. I don't do anything wrong. He goes, Rajesh Krishna, is Bhakti Guru Maharaj. He goes, Rajesh Krishna. He goes, when you're walking on the streets, do you look at the ground? He goes, do you know how many little animals, ants or spiders you might have killed, crushed on the way to work, or walking around in the garden doing your japa? Have you realized? He goes, when you're breathing, all these little bacteria and things, have you realized how many you might have killed? And he goes, and if you're in India, you hear the buzzing sound, you hear a mosquito, you go, snap it like that. He goes, how many times have you done that? I said, Right, quite a few. He goes, there you are, you see? He goes, even that, you're committing a sin, you're doing something wrong. He goes, you shouldn't do that. So everything, you should try and avoid doing all these sort of things, because these all do add up. Your karma. But that's why we take to spirituality. We take to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Now, Krishna has made it so easy. In the old days, you used to, take your ages, you have to do this fire sacrifice, you have to do this. So much things that go on. But Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come in now, and he's made it so easy for us to remember him 24/7. He doesn't want you to go out of your way to do things. He goes, all I want from you, a flower, a leaf, water, or fruits. These 4 things that anybody can get from anywhere. A leaf, right? Even a leaf off a tree, you can get that and offer it to Krishna, because what are you offering? He's just seeing your love, your reciprocation for him. How do you offer him something? Like, if you have someone coming home to you, if you have guests or relatives, you don't just say, you want to present them something nicely with love. You say, okay, present it nicely, they'll enjoy it. So in a similar way, when we offer something to Krishna, offer it nicely with love and devotion. Say, Krishna, I'm offering this to you. This is my little service for you. You can do that at home. Fruits, milk, anything that you can do. So you have that option. You bring flowers. You can offer flowers to Krishna. So anything that you can do, you can just offer it to Krishna, but offer it with love. And that's what he's looking for. Then he takes care of all your necessities of life. He will take care of everything. Like they say, he can make from a pauper to a prince, and from a prince to a pauper, because everything is under his control. Krishna controls everything, because Krishna says, time I am. Nobody knows time except for Krishna. What's going to happen in the future? No one knows. Like Krishna said, I remember the past, present, and the future, because we are always living in the present. And what is Krishna giving us? There's one thing he's giving us every single day. Every single day he gives us the opportunity that we wake up in the morning to remember him, to do service for him. But the way we tend to go is like, oh yeah, I've got 60, 70, 80, 90, I've got plenty of time. I can do this for Krishna later on. But no, do we actually know if we have a tomorrow? We under the thing, like James 1, tomorrow never dies. But tomorrow does die for us. Yeah. We don't know if there is a tomorrow. So we have to make the most in the present that we have. And why is it called a present? Because it's a gift that Krishna has given us. To remember him, he gives us 24 hours in a day. Out of that 24 hours, spare at least 5 minutes minimum. We'd say like an hour at least, or hour and a half, but even 5 minutes is something. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, even if you can't 5 minutes, just chant his glories. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it so easy. He goes, there's no hard and fast rules for remembering Krishna. Because when you chant this, you're automatically linking your Atma with Krishna. And how easy it is. We'll all try. Everybody put your hands in the air. This is how you remember Krishna any time of the day, 24/7. You say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How hard was that? That literally took how many seconds? 30 seconds? Right? And if you can do more of those in a day, do as many as you can. You're driving, you're walking, you're working, you're cooking in the kitchen, leave it on in the background. Your mind will constantly click into it. A friend of mine, he came here for the first time. We brought him on a Sunday, it's a Wednesday evening when we have our program. Kirtans were going on here. He came here, he sat for nearly 3 hours. He went home, he goes all night long, that Kirtan of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That Kirtan was going on in my mind all night long. Even 6 in the morning, I got up and I was still chanting it. This is how powerful Krishna's name is. So you can imagine, when you love Krishna, you do service to Krishna, you remember Krishna, he looks after you. So I'm going to bring it to a close now. It's not long to go. So therefore, this verse shows us that when you have spiritual wisdom, it's essentially translated into effective. Oh, hold on, I can't read my writing. Hold on, yeah, okay. It shows that when you have a spiritual wisdom, and it is essentially translated into the effective and detached performance of duties, irrespective of the transcendental nature of the body. Because when you go to Vrindavan, you see all the sadhus, all the babas who are like 70, 80, 90, they're still chanting on their beads, irrespective of what's happening. They are still chanting. And finally, this verse therefore serves as a powerful reminder that true wisdom leads to clarity, composure, and courageous discharge of duty, irrespective of the intolerant, imperfect, what's that word again?
Permanent?
No. Impermanence of the material world. Nothing's permanent here. The impermanence of the material world. Therefore, one must remember to always chant the holy name of the Lord. So I'll end it there. So please forgive me if I've said anything wrong, or if anything's out of character, or what I shouldn't have said. Please forgive me for that. If there are any questions, any comments, any corrections, please speak now. Otherwise, in a few minutes, the curtains will open for Aarti. Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokul Nanda Bhagwan ji ki, Jai.
His Grace Rajesh Krishna Prabhu ki,
Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.
Guru Maharaj ki.
So that's why every weekend you see people in London chanting Harinam, because someone, like my Guru Maharaj says, he goes, even if you chant outside and there's nobody there, the trees and the plants will listen to this Harinam. It would benefit those. He goes, all the little animals out there, the birds, the bees, the wasps, even though they sting you, everyone will benefit from that. He goes, so you're still doing your little bit of service by chanting on the streets. So even if you chant in your back garden, you want to do some japa, chant in your back garden, everything will benefit. That's the power of the holy name of the Lord. And this is what Krishna says. So, thank you so much, everyone. If you will stand up for Aarti now, please. Aarti is going to start in literally 1 minute.